Madness was actually a little bit spread out, so.
Hello and welcome. This is Bloomberg Queen. Tata Sons has decided to do a major restructuring within the group. Tata Chemicals will transfer its consumer brands to Tata Global Beverages, which will subsequently be renamed. The restructuring will also see Tata Chemicals shareholders get about 1.14 new equity shares for Tata Global Beverages for every share held in Tata Chemicals. And to simplify this, perhaps it would mean about 100 shares against 114. Well, to understand this deal in a little more detail, we are in conversation with Sanjay Manyal, research analyst at ICICI Direct, who's joining us on the phone line right now. Sanjay, thanks for taking the time out. Let's talk about Tata Global Beverages first. Okay, let's talk about the deal in general. What are you making of it, and what are the implications for both these companies now?
I think it was expected, earlier that Tata Group probably will consolidate the consumer business in one entity, and we have seen that the Tata Tea has been a laggard over the years, considering that they had a huge overseas business. Which is struggling. The India business is just 30-35% of the total top line. That's still a growing business, but the entire 60-65% of the business, a lot of the revenues really come from the UK and US, the coffee business and the Tetley business. So these businesses are struggling, and some of the businesses are struggling, some of the businesses are not growing. Though we have seen some kind of a restructuring in last 1.5 years, where the Tata Global has divested its Russia business and China business, and they are exiting the non-profit or rather loss-making geographies. I think this is an extension of the same strategy, where probably they're consolidating the entire consumer business in one go. Though again, the concern remains that both the categories, whether it is tea or salt, are the saturated categories. They're not growing very fast. But I think the putting together the revenues and these India tea business and the salt business is a highly profitable one, and probably the kind of profitability these two categories have, they will be having much more balance sheet strength and the P&L strength to really spend much more in media spend, and probably invest that money into the creating new categories, and that probably should be the agenda. That's what I understand.
Okay. Sanjay, what do you make of this swap ratio of about 100 shares held in Tata Chemicals would get about 114 shares in Tata Global Beverages? Anything with respect to valuations?
So we need to still work out those numbers, but it's what I understand that probably it's still the demerger will happen of the consumer business in Tata Chemical, and that probably will be the swap ratio. In simple words, there will be some equity which will be there. So obviously the equity base will become much bigger, but still we have to work out the number in terms of valuation.
Were you working with any estimates before this deal came through in terms of the equity swap or anything on those lines?
So no, we didn't really have this any earlier indication of the valuation, but it simply. What I understand probably that obviously the salt business has been valued much more than the existing business of Tata Global Beverage.
All right. And would this do anything for Tata Global Beverages ratings and perhaps targets from here on?
No, still we have to work out in that term, and we also need to really understand what is the company's strategy, what is the management strategy, what kind of changes they are doing, whether they will be consolidating the distribution and what time they will be doing it, if they will be entering to new categories. So all those things will really need to get a clarity from the management.
Okay, Sanjay, and I'm also looking at the fact that the Tata Chemicals consumer products business, its margins are at around 17%. These are the EBIT margins. So does that mean that it goes ahead and improves, Tata Global Beverages margins?
No, most certainly, because Tata Global Beverage margins are around 10%, 9-10%, whereas the global brands or the global business has been a drag for Tata Global Beverage. There is no doubt about it. If the 17% margin, that the consolidated operating margin will be better.
Okay. All right. Sanjay, just a final word then on, what lies in store in terms of the kind of slowdown that we've seen for the entire industry of late when it comes to some of these FMCG companies. How would you put that into context with Tata Global Beverages now?
No, I don't think we can really correlate, because for other categories we have seen a very huge growth in last 1 year, specifically post the GST implementation. Specifically from the GST implementation, after that there were retailers and the distributor who really started stocking up because the inventory levels really became very thin at the time of GST implementation. So what I understand, Tata Global cannot really be correlated over there, because anyway the tea business was a struggling one, or the low growth business. So I don't think there would be much change in that sense. Still, I would say that Tata Global Beverage is largely urban portfolio, even in terms of the India business, if we see.
Okay, fair enough, Sanjay. We'll leave it at that. Thank you so much for joining us and taking the time out. That's Sanjay Manyal's view on Tata Chemicals and the Tata Global Beverages scheme. But we're also in conversation with Deven Choksi of KR Choksi Securities, who's joining us on the phone line. Deven, good afternoon. Thanks for taking the time out. Your initial take on this particular deal, I know that this was largely on expected lines, but how are you looking at whatever your preliminary look on the numbers is?
Well, I think we will be able to justify numbers much better once I think we would start putting across the entire portfolio of consumer business, which Tata Group is proposing to bring under Tata Global. As of now, as I see it, I think it would be a combined company of around close to 10,000 crore or 9,000 crore turnover and a 1,150 crore EBITDA making company with an enterprise value of somewhere around close to 12,800 crores. So this is the, number which is available from the company's, what we call, data bank. So we are basically working on this number. The point which I'm trying to say is that once you have a combined business in the consumer portfolio, it's basically, the food vertical, which we are saying in the FMCG space. Over and above the food vertical, if any further portfolios are required to be added, whether it would be an organic strategy or inorganic strategy, requires to be seen. Further, it also requires to be seen as to how they will be funding this particular activity going forward. Because if you look at, how ITC has emerged in the FMCG space in the last 10 years, creating, different portfolios within the FMCG basket. For first many years, they haven't been making even the contribution, and they were been losing money. So whether they would follow the organic growth, inorganic growth, while creating different verticals within the FMCG portfolio of the consumer brand company, it remains to be seen. As of now, they are basically bringing the food vertical within this particular space, and which is profitable for them. So in a way, it is a good strategy, good move, which will allow them to actually, optimize their management bandwidth systematically while growing the subject vertical in space.
Deven, I'm also trying to understand if your firm has, worked some initial numbers out, if this is a fair enough deal in terms of the swap ratio for something like Tata Chemicals, because clearly it's losing out on its consumer business, which goes to Tata Global Beverages. How does this get perceived when it comes to Tata Chemicals' point of view?
No, we haven't done that, breakup so far on the numbers, so would not be possible to put across, immediately at one go. But as I understand it, within the Tata Chemical basket, the consumer portfolio was probably a misplaced portfolio, because along with your investment portfolio, along with your industrial portfolio of products, in agri space, specialty chemical space, energy storage space, etc. I think this consumer portfolio was a misfit in Tata Chemical actually, and they were not giving enough amount of thrust to that portfolio. Having brought into the Tata Global and making a new consumer company, I think the thrust will be much larger, management attention will be much better, and I think the focus would shift on creating the brand and the value and creating the ROC out of the investment that they are having in the business.
Okay. All right, Devin, we'll leave it at that. Thank you so much for joining us and giving us your initial take on both these iconic companies, if I can call them. So there you have it. Well, that's your scheme of arrangement. And to also apprise our viewers of the new name, Tata Global Beverages will be renamed Tata Consumer Products, and of course Tata Chemicals remains as is, but without its consumer business, which goes into Tata Global Beverages now. And of course we'll be watching out for what the management also has to say in just a short while from now when they talk to us in the press conference. But on that note, it's a wrap on the special edition. There's lots more lined up. Stay tuned to Bloomberg Quint.